Hello there, welcome back to Jennie Designs with Paper. Thanks for stopping by my channel today. I'm working with pattern paper and cardstock to make cards. That's it. Get comfy and let's get crafty. So I'm going to use this Recollection 6x6 paper pad to make 4 cards with only this pattern paper. No dies, no cut, no stamps, no nothing. And all of the cards today are going to be perfect for inserting gift cards because that's the season we're in. It's graduation season. That means gift cards and all that stuff. So I'm also going to be using this scoreboard quite a bit. And then I have 2 pieces of a heavyweight cardstock. I have 1 sheet of black and 1 sheet of white. And we're going to go ahead and make 4 cards. So the first one that we are using, or the first one that we're making, is using half of an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. So it is 4 1/4 by 11. And we are going to score it at 3 inches, 4.5 inches, 6 inches, and 9 1/4. And all of these measurements will be on the blog post, which is linked below. So this card actually folds up like a wallet. And it will hold just a gift card in there, maybe a little bit of cash if you wanted to do cash instead of a gift card. But we are scoring on all 4 of those score lines with a good bone folder. And then the middle line kind of needs to come in, so I scored that. So we have kind of a Z-fold score here going on. And on the second score line, that 4.5 score line, we're going to fold that back and then cut a little bit. I'm using this Fiskars trimmer so I can line up my blade. And I'm lining it up about a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch from each end, and cutting just a sliver piece, and that will create an opening for our gift card. So the next thing we're going to do is use some really strong adhesive and close that particular flap closed. So this would be the back of the card, and I'm putting 3 pieces of really strong adhesive. This is the Suquane tape from scrapbook.com. And I'm just putting 3 pieces on around that cutout because I don't want to seal that cutout off. There we go. And then we have this little wallet size card. I'm going to reinforce my folds there. And I'm going to pull out 2 pieces of pattern paper from this pattern paper pack. And I'm going to cut this piece of pattern paper down. Again, all of those dimensions will be on the blog, but this is going to be about 4 inches by I think it's about 1.5 inches. But again, I will put all of those on the blog. See, I had to measure to know how much I wanted in there. It's about 1.5 inches. And this is for the top down flap. The bottom, the part that flips up, I'm going to use this kind of confetti pattern paper. And this is again going to be about 4. And let me pull up a ruler right here and I'll tell you what it is. 4 by 2 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to use my double-sided adhesive with my ATG, and I'm going to put this little cap pattern paper on the front flap, or the top flap, and the confetti, or all of the papers in this pad have gold and silver foil in them too, which is really nice. But then we have just this little wallet. Now, we can't leave it like that, right? We have to do a little bit of decoration. So I'm going to take another piece of that cap pattern paper, and I'm going to trim it down to fit on the pop-up part of this, the inside of the wallet. And then I'm going to take a piece of white copy paper. I'm going to trim it down to fit just inside what's left of the inside of that wallet, so we have some place to write congratulations sentiment to. And it holds a gift card just kind of perfectly. It slides right into that little cutout there. For the front, I'm going to take, there's one piece of pattern paper in here that has just words on it. And this is where all of my greetings or sentiments are going to come from. I'm going to cut out the one that says Class of 2025, which means I have to use this graduation card this year. I don't have quite as many friends and family graduating this year, but I will make sure I use this one. I did decide to go ahead and back that onto some black cardstock, so I grabbed a scrap out of my scrap bin. I'm going to use double-sided tape to stick that down. I'm going to trim it out and put it right in. I'm going to put a little line of adhesive at the top and stick it right in the middle. Again, I don't want to glue or tape my wallet card shut, but then we'll have a little bit of a front, a little bit of a fold and a little bit of sentiment on the front there. And that's it. That's the first, and it will fit into a regular envelope. It won't take up all the space, but it will fit into a regular envelope. The next card, I'm using the other piece of that black cardstock. So this is 4 1/4 by 11, and I scored it at, let me find my notes here. I scored it at 4 1/4, 5 1/2, and 6 3/4 inches. And so this makes a gatefold card. Okay, this is just a standard gatefold card. I'm going to grab another piece of the pattern paper out of the, I'm going to use the gold foil and the one that looks kind of like a bokeh effect on a photograph bokeh background. And I'm going to trim those papers down to fit on the gatefold. So the foil one is like 4 inches by about 1 1/4 inches. Again, exact measurements down in the blog. And then the pattern paper is going to be 4 inches by about 3, where did my ruler go? Oh, 4 by, 3.5, 3 3/4-ish. I'm going to adhere that foil to the bottom gate flap and the pattern paper to the top gate flap. And I was trying to decide there if I had a plan, and it turns out I cut that just a little short, but it's okay. I'm going to use it anyway and make it work. So here I'm just putting that, kind of sort of centering that on the top of our gatefold there. And then for the pocket, that bottom gate, I'm adding some more of that really strong double-sided adhesive. And I'm going to remove the backing tape and fold that in and push it down. And then I'm going to add another piece of just copy paper. This is a heavier weight copy paper, like a 32-pound copy paper. And I'm going to put that on the inside of the card so that we can write a message there. And I did cut it a little bit long. No biggie. I just kind of stuck it down in the pocket. Again, I'm using this pattern paper with the words on it for my sentiment. I'm cutting out the one that says "You're a star." I am fussy cutting it. It does not look die cut perfect, but it looks fine. I totally like it. I'm also going to back that onto a piece of the black cardstock. So once I had that taped down, I went ahead and just made a little bit of a border following the cutout I had already done. You could cut it totally square. You could, I just kind of wanted to fussy cut it. And I'm just going to stick it right down there in that kind of the center over onto the right. I'm going to reinforce my folds again. And that is our card base, or our gift card holder number 2. But this one also works for those taller gift cards. You know how they're starting to package them a little bit more carefully. So this next card, third card, is also a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock, scored at 4 1/4, 5 1/2, and 6 3/4. I think. I will double check. My notes are it's the same because it's a gatefold card. That's right. I just have another plan for this gatefold card. Sorry, my notes are hand scratched. So this time for the gatefold card, I'm going to take this piece of pattern paper and I'm going to cut it 4 1/4 inches wide by the whole length, the whole front of the card. So 5 1/2, right? And then I'm going to grab the silver foil paper and cut off just some strips. And I didn't even measure these. They're probably about 1/4 inch wide. And the first strip I'm going to add to the very bottom of this kind of black, white, and gray pixel kind of design. And I'm just trimming that off with my scissors. And then I'm going to take this gatefold card and I'm going to open the top flap and make sure it fits. And then I'm going to put adhesive all over the inside of the top flap. So this gatefold card won't actually look like a gatefold card. It will look like a two-tone card. So the whole front of the card now, takes the entire front of the pocket is on the inside as opposed to the bottom of the gate, or the bottom gatefold. And then I grabbed another piece of foil, of that silver foil paper, and added some adhesive. I'm going to take it along the top of that seam where the black cardstock and the pattern paper meet. And you can see that it's white on the inside of the card now from the back of that pattern paper. Totally fine. You could back it again with some black cardstock, but that's just a lot of heft on the front of the card for no real reason. You could also use this on a white card base, and then you wouldn't notice that it was white and black on the inside, but again, not a big deal. I am sticking a piece of pattern paper on the inside, And this one I forgot to trim down, so I just peeled the pocket open a little bit and then threw some more adhesive on there. No big deal. This one will also hold the taller prepackaged gift cards as well. Like I know Apples always have a cover on them. For the front, I cut out the words that says grad, just says grad. And I'm going to just put it right there on the front of that card, right there above the silver foil with some, I think I used liquid glue on that one. The fourth card is a special card. This is a pop-up gift card holder. So I have an 8.5 by 11 piece of 8 by 5.5 inch piece of cardstock. And then I have a 5.5 by 4 inch piece of cardstock. Okay. And then the 8 by 5.5, I will put the measurements and the scores because I think I'm looking at my notes wrong. So this is 4.25 by 11, and I'm scoring it at 1 inch and then at 7 inches. Sorry, I will put all the measurements and all the score lines over on the blog. And then this smaller piece I scored at 2 inches and then at like 1/4 inch from the end. And this one it's going to be kind of finicky. For this card, that smaller piece, I should have used a lighter weight cardstock or used a little bit of foam tape on the larger piece because it does kind of sort of get caught a little bit. I think my pocket is too tight. So I have a A4 or an A2 size gatefold card, and I'm going to use some pattern paper on the front of this. We're doing the long piece first. This 4.25 by 11 inch piece of cardstock, and I pulled out this black and starry piece or pattern paper, and I'm using it to do the entire front of the card, both gate pieces. So again, we're talking gatefold. And I'm using this black and star. This is the only one I think that isn't foiled. But anyway, and I just trimmed that in down and then cut it so that we could still have a border around all 4 sides on both pieces of the gate. So I'm going to add some really strong adhesive. Oh, first I'm going to cut some things out because on this pop-up part, I wanted a little bit of a sentiment there too. So I'm cutting out the words that say you're a star. And this is the part that kind of gets stuck on the pop-up feature. If I was going to use stamps, this is where I would use a stamp sentiment instead of a cutout sentiment because it kind of gets stuck on the inside of the card. But we're putting some really strong adhesive on that 1/4 inch score at the top and then on the 2 sides of the pocket. Here is where I could have used some thin foam also to kind of make that right here on this gatefold. This is where I could have used some thin foam to kind of make that pocket a little less tight. So I'm putting that sequin tape on the 2 sides of that bottom gate, that pocket we're going to flip up. And then the smaller piece gets inserted into that pocket. See, it's kind of a little bit tough. Maybe I even could have trimmed down that insert a little bit narrower. So once we have that all kind of figured out, we're going to take the release paper off of this the quarter score, and we're putting it right up against the score line and folding it down so that the top panel picks up that piece, and then we're shoving the rest down into that pocket. So here we can open that pocket on the white piece, the insert piece, and that can hold a gift card in there as well. Like I said, I think that a foam adhesive on the bottom gate of the card base would probably help that pop-up maneuver just a little bit better. For the sentiment, I'm just taking that same pattern paper or that same word paper again and trimming out those words that say you did it with the graduation cap on it. And I'm just going to use that kind of as a latch on our gatefold card. But again, I'm not putting adhesive on the bottom, just on the top. And then I took that part that says you're a star and I put it on the pop-up piece. So 4 cards, 1 paper pad, 2 sheets of cardstock, no stamps, no dies, nothing, just all pattern paper. So we're going to go through these again. This is the pop-up one. It's not working smooth still, even today, like when I'm doing the voiceover. Here is the wallet one that will hold, and these two both work really well with the smaller gift cards. And then our two gatefold cards work really well with these larger gift cards. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Sometimes we want to make a card and we don't have all the things that we see, right? All we have is cardstock and pattern paper. This is how you do it. You just cut apart that pattern paper to make it work for you in whatever way. And I love that we have a nicer way of handing somebody a gift card instead of just handing them a gift card. So thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed the video. I have a couple more videos here I think you'll like. I've also added that subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me how you feel about gift cards and card making, and have a great day.